Hello and welcome to this edition of From the Pavilion End. We have just witnessed a very exciting finish to the India versus Afghanistan T20 series. Afghanistan is no pushover in T20, and even though Rashid Khan was not playing, this was still quite a strong Afghanistan team. India had recalled Rohit and Kohli to the team, which had caused a huge amount of uproar, and we had created a episode on this. If you have not seen that, I will provide a link to that uh, in my current episode notes, and you'll be able to check that out. But it was a clean sweep, and Afghanistan remains one of those teams which has never won a match, T20 match, against India. Um, that India won it 3-0 itself was commendable, but um, the third match was extremely competitive. India scored 212 and Afghanistan chased that down only to tie it at the last ball, taking a 2 instead of a 3. They scored 212 too. Um, and then there was a super over, obviously. And in the super over, Afghanistan scored 16 runs. Chasing 17, India were 14 with 2 balls to go. And then they could take only 2 singles. Um, so the super over was tied too. Remember, in this kind of a situation in 2019 ODI World Cup, there was a boundary count, and based on that, New Zealand had lost, England had won. Thankfully, that has gone out of the fashion. So we had a second super over, and there was a lot of confusion. But in the second super over, India scored 11 runs and for 2 wickets, and Afghanistan could score only 1 run and got both of their wickets out. Notable thing here was that Karim Jannat, he joined Akila Dhananjaya and Stuart Broad as a third bowler to give 36 runs in an international T20I match in matches played between test playing nations. The in the last 10 years, the only two teams which have won in India in T20I are Australia and South Africa. And this is probably this is their 15th um, consecutive home series that they have won. And with this win, India retains their number one position in the T20 ranking. However, ranking is not all, because there is a ICC World Cup to be won, something that India has not managed in over a decade, more than a decade. Rohit Sharma has won one T20 World Cup, and Virat Kohli has won one ODI World Cup between them, but they have never won anything together. That's saying something for two of the best white ball batsmen of all time. So let's take a look at 5 things that we learned from this India versus Afghanistan series. And we'll also pay tribute to some of the things that we have not learned in this series. Before we start the video, let me just take a minute and request you to share your love and affection for the podcast. You can search us on From the Pavilion End and find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and on YouTube. Do follow the podcast in whatever medium you consume it. Like and share the episode with your friends. And finally, write and tell us your opinion about how we are doing. And now on to the video. Super overs are always exciting, but then two super overs can be very, very confusing. In the history of T20 cricket, there has only been one T20 match in which there were two super overs, and that included was played between Mumbai Indians and Kings 11 Punjab in IPL. Rohit Sharma did play in that, and he batted only in the first super over. In the second super over, they had Hardik Pandya and Pollard. Super over, this match between India and Afghanistan happened, which is the first instance ever of a T20I going into two super overs. We were all dismayed when Rohit Sharma walked off with India needing 2 runs of the last ball of the first super over. Apparently, Rohit wanted Rinku to come in because Rinku is, of course, a super fast runner between the wickets. The assumption was that if Jaiswal could hit it anywhere, Rinku and Jaiswal would be able to convert one into two, which would, give us the win. Now, if Rohit had gone off, he could have gone off only in two cases. One was whether he was a retired out or he was a retired hurt. There was never anything that happened in the ground which said that Rohit could be a retired hurt candidate. So the only thing that one could say is that Rohit Sharma was retired out. And then Jaiswal and Rinku faced that last ball. Jaiswal can't hit it, and they squirt a single, which means it's a tie. At this point, I do not know what kind of communication happened between the umpires, and we did see Rahul Dravid also go up and talk to the umpires. Maybe the umpires basically lost it in the heat of the moment. But when the second super over started, they allowed Rohit Sharma back into the Indian batting team, which consists of 3 batsmen for any particular super over. This is against the rule that ICC has. So a player who has been out in any super over, if there is a subsequent super over, he cannot bat. Anyway, I feel that because this was the first instance ever of a double super over in a T20I, probably a lot of players were unsure about what to do. Rohit tried a gimmick, not a plan, but a gimmick of letting Rinku run for him. That could have easily backfired, but it didn't. But the rule was broken. Now, when I put up the topic of a toss, a lot of you will say that a toss should not be deciding the fate of at least a T20 match because it's only 40 overs. So the situation should not be changing too much for either the first batting team or the second batting team. But there are definitely advantages to be had in T20 when you win the toss in certain situations. For example, when there is a dew. The first match, basically all 3 matches of this series had dew, and it was always a bat second kind of a wicket for all 3 matches. That India decided to bat first only in the third match says that they were trying to safeguard the result of the series before trying to experiment. Now, India won all the 3 tosses of this series. Why do I say that this is an important tosses? Because India has been losing all the 11 tosses that they have been playing before that in South Africa. This was a clean sweep. 2 T20Is, 3 ODIs, and 2 tests. Before that, they had lost 4 tosses on the row versus Australia in the T20 series. And even before that, they had lost the most important toss at the ODI World Cup final. So whenever there is an important toss to be had, India usually loses it. But then again, they won these Afghanistan tosses. So I just, you know, have my fingers crossed that they come in the World Cup 2024. India do not lose another important toss in. So when we look at the numbers of test playing nations who have been asked to bat first after losing the toss, the win-loss ratio tells us that how the toss has impacted the result. And it is indeed a commendable number that India has on that win-loss ratio. They sit snugly second behind New Zealand. And New Zealand, India, and South Africa, the top three teams in that list, they have all done really well in terms of performing after losing the toss in a bat first scenario. That would probably say that India hasn't had that much of an impact in terms of the toss in their result, ultimate result. But let's look at ICC knockout tournaments. When I look at ICC knockout tournaments, then the last three times India actually were in a T20 knockout match in the World Cup, they lost it based on the fact that they lost the toss and were asked to bat first. 2022 World Cup lost to England in Adelaide. Before that, at home, lost to West Indies in 2015 semi-final. And before that, they lost the final to Sri Lanka in Mirpur in 2013. Not only that, they also lost the toss in 2013 semi-final to South Africa. Only thing is that Virat Kohli probably played one of the greatest innings. 2007, India actually won both the tosses in the semi-final and final. They, of course, won that tournament. So it did not impact them in 2007. Now, after the knockouts, let's look at the preliminary round matches that India have lost the toss and have been asked to bat first. In 2021, in Dubai, it was always because of the dew, it was always a bat second kind of a wicket. In the first match, India played Pakistan. They lost the toss, was asked to bat first. Second match again at Dubai, they lost the toss to New Zealand. Again was asked to bat first and lost both of those matches. India has a habit of losing very critical tosses at very critical time in the T20 World Cup. So one only hopes that these three tosses do not even out at the wrong time in the T20 World Cup. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rinku Singh are one of a kind, or maybe two of a kind, if you want to put it that way. Both left-handers, both having an astounding start to their T20 career after having a breakout season in the IPL for their respective franchises. Both from UP originally, although Yashasvi moved to Mumbai when young, but they have been doing something phenomenal in the Indian cricket batting order since their debuts. Let's look at Yashasvi first. 17 matches, 502 runs. Already he has scored 104 50s, but 161.93 strike rate. So he scored those 500 runs in just 310 balls. And if you are thinking that this is, out of this world, look at what Rinku Singh has done. He's played almost similar number of matches, 15 matches, 11 innings, 356 runs from just 202 balls, an average of 89, and a strike rate of 176. He scored 250s. Latest one was the 69 not out against Afghanistan in the third T20I, and also hit 3 sixes in the last over. Together with Rohit, Rinku Singh put on 190 runs, which is a record for any wicket for India, which is also a record for anything below fourth wicket for anywhere in all T20s, T20Is. Even for all T20s, this is the second best record behind Iftikhar Ahmed and Shakib Al Hasan in Bangladesh Premier League. But shifting just to T20Is, those two strike rates are just out of this world. Just to put that into context, this is test playing T20I players are the 202 balls, which is what Rinku Singh has faced. So at 202 balls faced, the maximum strike rate is Rinku Singh's, as you can see, 176. Then, of course, comes Surya Yadav at 171. But Jaiswal is not far behind. He is fifth on that list at 161. The others in that list, Phil Salt and Finn Allen. Finn Allen primarily moving up because of his innings, two innings against Pakistan. But Rinku Singh, Surya Yadav, Phil Salt, Finn Allen, and Yashasvi Jaiswal. That's like the modern day batsman that you want to have in your team. And India is having three of those five. That makes it amazing. Um, just by being a left-hander, there was an advantage in including them in the team. India haven't had a positive left-hander opening batsman since Shikhar Dhawan waned off. His form waned off. And Rinku Singh is a breath of fresh air as a finisher in all white ball competitions. So my take is that both Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rinku Singh have already booked their tickets into not just the team for World Cup, but also the first 11 of the T20 World Cup. One of the key things that was noticeable in these three matches was the lack of a Yorker specialist in the Indian team. The bowling at many points was lackluster. That Afghanistan didn't have a batting punch helped a lot. But when it came to the crunch, except for Arshdeep Singh and maybe one or two occasions from Mukesh Kumar, there was hardly any Yorker on offer. Earlier, we have seen that in 2007, our World Cup run was fueled by the Yorkers from Irfan Pathan. In 2014, when we again reached the final, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was throwing those Yorkers at will. In 2016, when we went to the semi-final, at that point also, Ashish Nehra bowling them at will. 21 and 22, there was still Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, there was still Mohammad Shami. Jasprit Bumrah was injured for majority of that time, so he didn't play much. Um, so we haven't seen Jasprit Bumrah after he became the Jasprit Bumrah in a full-fledged T20 World Cup in the knockout rounds. But going by what we have seen from the bowlers, the fast bowlers, since the 2022 World Cup finished, we can safely say that there is a dearth of good Yorker bowlers, except for maybe one or two. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar has been our premier T20I bowler who used to bowl a lot of Yorkers. But after another failed campaign in 2022, India seemed to have passed on from him. So he is not going to be the answer in 2024. Harshal Patel, who was Purple Cap winner, also was in the frame because of his Yorkers and slow balls. But then he also couldn't hold his own in the World Cup. So he's also not going to be considered for the T20 World Cup, at least as of the performance that we have seen in the international frontier as of now. Then Umran Malik, the man with express pace and a lethal Yorker, he was supposed to, spearhead our T20 team along with Arshdeep. But he has also blown hot and blown cold, and his high economy rate means that he is also not going to be the part of 2024 team. Finally, Shivam Mavi. He played 6 matches in early 2023. Because of his batting ability, he was considered almost a shoe-in. India's bowlers cannot bat, but Shivam Mavi had an advantage, and he could also bowl Yorkers. But then he got injured, and as of now, I think that ship has sailed. Of course, we are not including somebody like a Natarajan, who used to bowl Yorkers at will at one point in time. But now, because of injury, he also has regressed quite a lot. Then Prasidh Krishna was included in the Australia series, but first of all, he is currently injured, and secondly, he has a huge economy rate. So I don't think that he can be the Yorker merchant at all. Um, then Mohammad Siraj has probably not mastered this one format. He's a guaranteed starter in a one day and in a test match, but not in a T20I, and his forte is not bowling Yorkers. Avesh Khan, again, one of the so-called hitters among the bowlers who could hold a bat, but his Yorker spells are not impressive at all, and that was evident in that third match against Sri Lanka. Finally, Deepak Chahar. Deepak Chahar is basically a new ball bowler. He can bowl some of the Yorkers, but he played only one match versus Australia and then again got injured. So he is also not going to be the solution to this. So then we are left with Mukesh Kumar and Arshdeep Singh, who have relatively been successful in bowling Yorkers. Arshdeep maybe more than Mukesh in this area. If we actually look at all the pacers who have bowled since 2022 World Cup finished, you can clearly see that the selectors have preferred Arshdeep and Mukesh to play in the maximum number of matches, and that's because of their ability to bowl Yorkers at the death. However, while Arshdeep is clearly a shoo-in because of his left-handedness and his ability to bowl those Yorkers at a far more greater number, Mukesh may or may not be a first 11 member. He could probably be a squad member at best. Then, of course, there are those two gentlemen who were injured at this point in time, Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah, both of whom can actually bowl in Yorker or two. But while Bumrah will be definitely be part of the 11, Shami may be a squad player also in this time. So if Bumrah comes back as fully fit and Arshdeep is fully fit, then these two bowlers can bowl Yorkers. But otherwise, India do need to unearth another player who could probably have a similar impact, especially in the death overs. Among things that we didn't learn from this India-Afghanistan series is first one is Shivam Dube is an alternative to Hardik Pandya. Shivam Dube had an astounding first two T20Is, and because of that, he was considered as the man of the series for this tournament, for the series. But then look at how he has performed outside India and India. There is a stark difference, and although his strike rate in India is 156, but when he travels outside India, it falls down to in the 130s. And in New Zealand, where he has played 5 T20Is, that has gone down even more to 117. That's not what you want your all-rounder to average or to strike at. But then it's far-fetched to call him even an all-rounder because unlike Hardik Pandya, who is genuinely a 4-over bowler when he's fit, Shivam Dube on the best days can give you 2 overs or at max 3. If you keep him for 4 overs, he'll probably go over 50 runs. Having said that, the performance of Hardik Pandya in US and West Indies, where the World Cup will be held, is distinctively poor. In US, he has scored 42 runs at the strike rate of 123, and in West Indies, he has really struggled, scoring 99 runs at 107 strike rate. So the bar is not really high, but even then, one would hesitate to say that Shivam Dube is your all-rounder or even the backup all-rounder for the World Cup. the selectors will do well to consider Akshar Patel or even Venki Iyer or even somebody else who performs well in the IPL. The second topic is about the wicket keepers, and we tried Sanju Samson and Jitesh Sharma in this series. They didn't try them together, but in first two matches it was Jitesh, and the third one it was Sanju. Jitesh did well in the first T20I. In the second, he failed, and Sanju somehow always mops up any opportunity that is given to him. He batted twice in the third T20I and couldn't score a run off his bat in either time. Of course, there is a huge shadow of Rishabh Pant that is looming over all the wicket keepers. He's probably getting fit and would be available from the IPL. If he is fully fit, probably Rishabh will be one of those wicket keepers in the squad, having also been the wicket keeper in the last two World Cups. The second world wicketkeeper probably, I mean, ideally should have been either one of Sanju or Jitesh, based on that they were being given the chances. But since they could not grab it really, it could either be KL Rahul, who has decided to keep for Lucknow and bat in the middle over, or Ishan Kishan, who did the dual job of backup keeper and a backup opener in the ODI World Cup. The third one is, of course, the Rohit and Kohli debate. Rohit had a disastrous start, and then he hit his fifth T20I ton, which is a record in itself. Rohit also held a record of four T20I tons, which was equaled by Maxwell and then Surya. But Rohit now has taken that back up to five. He also has now hit three T20 hundreds as a captain, equaling the record of Babar Azam. But then, does this say that Rohit is in form? Because this one is his slowest T20 100. He took 64 balls to get to his 100 in this match. The earliest slowest that he has ever taken to get to 100 was 62 balls. So one cannot really say that Rohit has come back to form by dint of this 121. Of course, he will need more IPL games to fine tune and probably come into that form. And then there is Virat Kohli, who missed the first T20I and then hit a statement making 29 of 16 balls and then got out first ball in his home IPL ground of Bengaluru. That 29 of 16 is actually Virat's highest that he has ever hit in 16 balls. And amongst all of Indian batsmen since Virat started playing, Hardik Pandya has done it thrice, Dinesh Karthik, Rohit Sharma, and Surya Kumar Yadav. So out of those four players, only Rohit Sharma has done it during the power play. All of the others have done it during the slog overs of the innings. So Virat Kohli not only did scored those runs, he also effected a brilliant save of a six that Nabi had almost hit in the 30-20I. Are Rohit and Kohli really in the team? One would have to say yes, unless they have an absolutely disastrous IPL. The selectors will not have the balls to drop a Rohit who has just hit his 50-28 ton, or a Kohli who has made an intent making 29 runs of 16 balls in his return T20I game. Was the last time that India was playing a T20I right before the T20 World Cup. There is a whole IPL to play, but this was one occasion where they could have tried different permutations and combinations and be adventurous and flexible and try out different plans in an international format. Sadly, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma and the selectors, none of them showed any kind of guts to actually try out anything new, anything novel, which would say that India's are flexible and India can wiggle out of tough situations by doing the unexpected. India has a long-standing problem of setting of targets, not just when Rohit and Kohli were playing, even after Rohit and Kohli were not playing, just with Surya Kumar Yadav and the new team, there have been occasions where India have muffled up while setting up a target. Especially that was evident in the series against West Indies in August. They won the toss three times. They could have thrice batted first, but they prioritized on winning the series first. And that was the safety first attitude against Afghanistan side, which is ranked 10th. And that was missing Rashid Khan, its most potent bowler. Batting order flexibility is something sometimes required when you're coming up against a team which has suddenly pinned two batsmen at the crease and none of them are able to come out of it, just like what happened in the T20 World Cup semi-final versus England. Be flexible in the sense that, sometimes you would like somebody else to come in at three. India is in the power play, early power play. Then there could be a sense in sending a Shivam Dube into play those early overs. He could hit at that point of time. Testing of a lower middle order is something that India has seldom done. There has been far too many situations when India has had the lower middle order to score maybe a few runs over a runner ball, and they have simply capitulated in the worst possible way. One of that example was in the first match in West Indies. Then there is a chance of a bowling flexibility when you're faced with a daunting batting lineup. For example, how about opening the bowling with a left arm spinner? Why not bowl a spinner in the slog overs at the 19th and 20th over? Try different things. Sometimes it's not always that you have to bowl your designated fast bowlers as in over numbers 1, 2, and 3, or you designated fast bowlers in overs number 18, 19, and 20. Changing up of these roles would also enable India to have different solutions to the same problem and see how he fares. You do not know how somebody will perform until and unless you give them a chance. And India is just not trying it out in a match situation. One of the bane of Indian limited overs failures has been that their batters do not bowl and their bowlers do not bat. And this has been evident because the batsmen simply are not asked to turn over their hands. Um, it was when came into the team, Tilak and Jaiswal both were considered to have the upper hand over, let's say, Shreyas Iyer or Surya or Virat because they could bowl, or Shubman Gill for that instance, because they could bowl. That's what their first class records say. But they were never given a ball at all. Rinku Singh was given a ball in a one-day match and he took a wicket, but he wasn't tried at all. Afghanistan would have scored maybe 20 runs more. India would have still chased that down, but nobody tried to do that. Um, Finally, they had selected two wicket keepers in the squad, Jitesh and Sanju. One needed to test them both as a wicketkeeper, but also as a batsman. Now, Sanju is, of course, the more renowned batsman, but Jitesh is known as the finisher. So, because of their roles, they could have played both Sanju as well as Jitesh. Playing Tilak in that first match made no sense if you wanted to give your wicketkeepers a head-to-head kind of a battle and see who comes out better. There is a well-known saying in English that if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. And India have not utilized these T20Is to the fullest extent possible in order to find out solutions to the known problems of this squad. There are still a lot of batsmen who do not bowl. There are still a lot of bowlers who do not bat, or bowlers who have not been tested in the heat of a battle. The wicketkeeper is still uncertain. Having said that, uh, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rinku Singh, Ravi Vishnoi, Arshdeep, and probably Kuldeep Yadav have already booked their slots. If you ask me, so has Rohit and Kohli. Is this India team one of the favorites for T20 World Cup? Going by the preparation, I don't think so. But then anything can happen in a T20I match. That's what we saw in the third T20I, which was one of the humdingers of all time. It was a pleasure bringing you this episode. Do share this episode and like it if you are, happy with the work that we are doing. And follow our podcast on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, and on YouTube Podcast. Thank you.